good people. So as you know, I've been an expat for a long time, teaching and living in Korea. If you didn't know that, then you've got some catching up to do with my videos. So here's the thing. When you travel to a different country, you experience this thing called culture shock. You're used to a certain way of life in your country, then you go to a different country, they're used to a different way of life in that country. When you experience that way of life, it clashes with your way of life, and that is culture shock. Bit of a long-winded explanation, but you get the point. But now, if you take it one step further and you don't just travel to a different country, but you actually go and live in that country for a pretty long time, let's say 6 years, then you kind of get used to that culture. That culture is no longer a shock to you. In fact, you get so used to it that when you do eventually return home, the way of life in your home country starts feeling a bit foreign to you. And that's when you start experiencing what is known as reverse culture shock. Now here's the other thing. If you're kind of familiar with the process of hiring teachers in South Korea, you will know that they hire people from America, Canada, England, Ireland, Scotland, Australia, New Zealand, and South Africa. South Africa, as far as I know, is the only country in that category that is a developing nation. So now, while everyone else experiences culture shock, that's just, getting accustomed to the Eastern way of life, little Sam, who went to Korea, had to experience a kind of a double whammy of culture shock. Western versus Eastern way of life. And then on top of that, I had to get used to going from a third world country to a first world country. It kind of blew my third world little mind. For example, there are certain luxuries which a first world nation enjoys, which little South Africa doesn't get to enjoy. Like the subway system. I was absolutely petrified. I did not even want to go anywhere near the subway just because I had never used it before. I didn't know how to use it. I never wanted to use it. I was just scared that I was going to step into the subway and just die. But anyway, my little British friend, she taught me how to use the subway system, and well, then I got used to it, and now, hey, I'm a subway pro. I remember there were even some American people and some British people who even told me that there were some aspects of Korea that were way more advanced than what they were used to. So if it was way more advanced for them, can you imagine what it was like for me? Yeah, I told you, my third world mind was blown. So now, having lived in Korea for almost 6 years, Korean life, it kind of became second nature to me. I became very much used to the Eastern way of life. I also became very accustomed to the first world luxuries. So coming back to South Africa, it's been quite an adventure. I think the first major thing that was a huge whoa for me was the food. I went to Korea in 2011. It took me like 6 months to get used to their food because their food's completely different. But then after a while, I got completely used to it. And coming back to South Africa, I realized that Korean food is either really salty or really sweet. Firstly, when I came back, I had a runny tummy for days. TMI, welcome to my channel. Yeah, so I had a runny tummy for days just because my stomach was just readjusting to the spices, because if you didn't know, a Korean spicy is very different to Indian spicy. So I had to readjust to that. And then when I came home, wow, everything is really bland. Korean food's really salty. If it's not salty, then it's really sweet. Everything in Korea has sugar in it, including bread. Yes, you heard me, bread and pizza. When I first tasted Korean bread, I was like, this is gross. But then I got used to it. And then I only wanted sweet bread. When I came back to South Africa, I was like, this bread has no taste. I want my sweet bread back. It was a very confusing time in my life. Okay, the second thing that is so weird. It is so weird. I can't even explain how weird this is. Not hearing Korean. It's a change that's happened overnight. I went from one day hearing Korean, only Korean, everywhere, and then suddenly just not hearing it at all. Nothing, zero. There are not even just like 1 or 2 Koreans where I live. There is not a single Korean where I live. And to go from hearing only Korean to now just only hearing English, Afrikaans or Zulu, my ears are in shock. They don't look like they're in shock to you, but they're in shock. And I miss hearing Korean. There's nothing wrong with English, Afrikaans and Zulu. It's like, I feel like there's a hole in my ear. I mean, there is already a hole in my ear, but I feel like there's a hole in my ear where the Korean should be. Like, I should be hearing Korean, and there's just like a void. The other thing is like just little customs that you're accustomed to. Little customs that you're accustomed to. Anyway, I'm still kind of accepting money like this with my left hand or my right hand. I'm still like that, still comes to me naturally. But it's weird for me to not see other people doing that in South Africa now. People are just giving me money like this now, and I'm like, yo bruh, that's rude. I'm still, of course, bowing. I'm not like bowing like deeply, but my head just automatically goes like that. I haven't seen a single bow in South Africa. No one's bowing. No one. Where's all the bowing gone? Oh, I left it in Korea. That's right. Okay, this is the big one, and that is safety. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't live in the safest country in the world. You know, our crime rate is not that great. So when I was fresh in Korea, like I was still like always aware of my bag, and I was still like clutching my bag close to me. And then obviously I got used to Korea being like the safest country in the world. Okay, I'm not saying that there's zero crime in Korea, but it's almost zero. Then I got used to being completely relaxed in Korea. When I say completely relaxed, I mean like I never had to ever check on my belongings. Like my bag was open, I'd be walking on the streets, it'd be fine. I'd leave my stuff at a table in a restaurant, go to the bathroom, all my stuff would still be there. I'd forget my wallet in a taxi, I'd get my wallet back from the taxi driver. I would walk home from the pub at 4 in the morning, down little dark alleyways, completely fine. My mind was completely free. And then coming back to South Africa, I had to like completely switch my mind back to South African mode. This is the thing, we don't even realize it. When I never left South Africa, before I even left South Africa, we don't even realize, but it's just a way of life. Like you're just alert all the time. And then you go to Korea and it's like this huge weight of stress off your shoulders. Can you imagine never worrying about safety ever again? Only when you come back to South Africa do you realize how stressful it is constantly worrying about your belongings, about where you're parking, about where you're walking. Oh my goodness, you know, it's a little tough. Another big thing that I had to get used to again in South Africa is the lack of public transport. So, you know, not having a reliable, fast, safe, efficient means of public transport. Just getting used to being confined to a car the whole time. Such fun. I'm actually getting my driver's license. If you don't have a driver's license in South Africa, you're pretty much screwed. And I know what you're thinking, but Sam, weren't you supposed to get your driver's license at 18? I know, okay. I'm 29 million years old, okay? You don't need to rub it in my face. As I always say with my period, it's better late than never, okay? So, anyway, it was just so easy in Korea. Because you could just get on a train, get on a bus, get in a taxi, get on the bullet train, you know? Anyway, that's life, hey? That's the South African life. Speaking of cars, you know what's something that I always do now? I am forever, still to this day, walking to the driver's seat instead of the passenger seat. You know what's so funny about that? So I can't even drive, and I'm walking to the driver's seat instead of the passenger seat because everything's the other way around. And speaking of cars, you know what else is so weird? Seeing cars of like every color on the road. I didn't even realize this. In Korea, you only see like black cars, white cars, silver cars, and those little gold Matiz cars. But in South Africa, you see like cars of every color, like pink, blue, green, black, white, champagne, olive green, metallic, like any color. It's weird. It is so weird. Like, our roads are so colorful. You're so used to seeing black, white, and silver cars. When you come here, it's like, whoa, okay, I get it. We are the rainbow nation of cars. Okay, so this has been the most difficult thing to readjust to. It's just how slow everything is. In Korea, I was so used to like living in the fast lane, like the super fast lane. People in Joburg say that Joburg is living life in the fast lane. No, you don't understand what is the meaning of the fast lane until you go to South Korea. Then you're like, oh, this is the fast lane. So like now, when I come home, yo guys, why you South Africans walk so slowly? I can't even handle it. I'm walking in the shopping centers and people are taking their time in those malls. I get it, it's Saturday and you want to have a leisurely shop. I get it, okay, but still nothing justifies you walking that slowly. Hey, it makes me want to stab you in your Achilles heels, because I'm telling you, people who walk that slowly, they don't deserve to walk at all. I don't know why Korean people are in such a hurry, but I got very used to that. So now when I walk, I look like I'm on a mission. Meanwhile, I'm just walking to Woolworths. People are slow, just like everything is so slow, like processes in our country. If you are South African, you know what I'm talking about. Just like constant delays, services just taking a long time. You know what I'm talking about. Whereas in Korea, everything just goes like clockwork. Everything just happens on time. When they tell you that you're gonna get the service done at this time, it actually does happen at that time. When you're promised something on a certain day, it actually comes to you on that day. The postal service in Korea, just like, it just goes. There's no problem, there's no delay ever, just never ever a delay. Whereas in South Africa, a delay in the postal service is just a norm. So stuff like that, just coming back to that, it's just like, yoo. What about our internet? Yoo. And I'm not talking about slow internet. We already know that South African internet is slow. We already know that in South Africa we have to deal with -1G while Korea is on 5G. I'm talking about how not accessible our internet is. I forgot that Wi-Fi is no longer just a given. Like, you know how in Korea, like, you walk into any public place, any coffee shop. There's like 10 million coffee shops on one street in Korea, and every single one of them, definitely, you don't even have to ask them, they have internet, and it's unlimited, and it's fast, and it's a given. There's no nonsense of like, if you sit down, you have internet for 30 minutes. Walking from place to place, sorry, do you offer Wi-Fi here? No? Okay, bye, I'm going to the next place. In South Africa, you still have to like sit down at a place, fill out some form on your phone, put your phone number in, put your email address in, tell them whether you're male or female. Why must I tell you whether I'm male or female? Then you click OK. Okay, you are now connected to the internet. Please note, you have 200 megabytes of internet to use. 200 megabytes. Oh, and I also forgot in South Africa how like your internet has an expiry date. Yeah, so not only does our internet in South Africa cost you an arm and a leg and a head and a toe and a fingernail and a liver, but it also has an expiry date. Do you know what that means? That means that if you do not use your internet in, let's say, a month, your internet goes back to the people that you bought it from. Yeah, they take it back from you. You lose that internet. It has an expiry date. Yeah, I forgot about that when I came back to South Africa. I forgot about that. Reverse culture shock is worse than actual culture shock. It is hard readjusting to life in your home country. There are so many things that I could go on about, but I feel like this video is going to be super long, so I'm not. And I know that it sounds like I'm dissing my country, but I am, okay, I am a little, but I love my country. Don't get me wrong. This is the honest truth. Whenever I land back in South Africa and I hear the pilot saying, welcome to Johannesburg. I honestly start tearing just because it's you know, like it makes my heart happy to hear that I'm back on South African soil, you know, because it's just, no matter what, it's home. Yeah, we might have a lot of crime and we might have an idiot government, but like it's still home. Like this will always be home, you know, so you're always going to be happy to be back. But it just takes a lot of time to readjust to South African life when you're so used to another way of life, having lived there for so many years. You get what I'm saying? Hey, are you also an expat? If you're an expat and you're South African and you were living in a different country for a very long time and you've now returned home, what are some of the things that you can't get used to again? I mean, not can't get used to, but you find it difficult getting readjusted to again? Let me know. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did enjoy the video, give it a like, why don't you? If you didn't enjoy the video, give it a like anyway. Don't forget to follow me on all the social medias, and hey, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next time with a new video. Goodbye.